All right, guys. Sorry I'm late. Late enough as it is, so I'm going to go ahead and start while I'm finishing my setup. Welcome, everybody, to the program. My name is Stuart Davis, flawed man of God, deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. Not a pastor, not a biblical scholar, and I haven't been to seminary. Not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause, just trying to talk to you about God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, talk about Christianity, talk about the Bible, and talk about a wide variety of Christian issues, topics, and current events, and give you my impressions on them, my opinions on them. One that I think that reflects that of an average Christian guy. Been a Christian all my life, 40 years, non-denominational Protestant. I don't subscribe to any particular doctrine or denomination, just in the word daily. Trying to do it better each and every day. Sometimes I'll get it right, many times I'll get it wrong, but no matter what. If I'm streaming on here, you're going to get my honest impressions anytime. So, if you are somebody who is interested in learning more about Jesus, starting a relationship with God, becoming a Christian, maybe there's something in the back of your mind that just is wondering if there's more to your existence than just your life here on earth, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. Big reason why I started this channel in the first place. Like you to get whatever you can, what information you're looking for, and I'll present it in the format of a very relaxed, comfortable setting where you can ask questions that I may or may not have the answers to, but hopefully I can point you in the right direction or give you some sort of insight on how Christianity at large views it. Like I said, I'm not a professional at this. I'm not a preacher, and instead of being the guy on the pulpit, I'm giving you the perspective of the guy in the pew next to you, somebody who's been going to church for a long time and telling you what keeps me sitting there, what keeps me believing, what keeps my faith alive. And maybe just maybe that will springboard you into a more mature and more fulfilling relationship with God. So, if you are already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian topics and discussions, welcome as well. Glad to have you here. We run this very similar to a Wednesday night study group or a Sunday school. Like I said, casual, relaxed. This is the format that we set. That I feel is most conducive to an enjoyable experience, and I hope that that's what you do. Enjoy it. And with that said, no matter where you land, not a Christian and looking, or maybe smarter and more well versed in the word and more mature in your faith than I am, or somewhere in between. I'd like for you to participate in the chat. We've got a great chat. Can't say enough good things about them. I can't. They make this show better, and oftentimes give insights, pose questions, give just give a great experience overall as we're reading through the Bible, which is what we're doing for the most part. Without further ado, here we go into the show proper. How is everybody going? How is everybody doing? Veritax, Zero, and Alias. So, Veritax, funny you should be the first one here tonight in dark mode. Because the reason I was late is we had a table. I still have the table, but now it is disassembled. But I had this big, it was like a small, tall, but short, dining table that we were using in this room as kind of a table area for my kids to have time on their computer. But it's square. It's square, and so it's not really a good setup for a desk. So finally, I decided to bite the bullet, and it was only $100 to get a workable desk. And what else did I get for it? Oh, I got a keyboard mat and something else. Oh, a speaker for them. So now they don't have to listen to the headphones. In fact, I prefer that they weren't on their headphones so I can hear what they're listening to. And so me and my son, who loves to build things, putting things together. It's not an L-shaped desk. It is a standard desk, Veritex, because I know that you are you have been on your own desk hunt before recently, and it's not an L-shaped desk because it's a good starter desk. It's a good starter desk. It's not an L-shaped desk. L-shaped desks are finisher desks, which is what I have. When you're in the big leagues like me and you own most of the real estate in this room, you can decide what you want to put together. Last night after the show, a tree proceeded to fall. Well, not the whole tree, but a very large series of branches, like branches like this big around. Let the camera that big around proceeded to fall on my wife's minivan, and luckily the luggage rack broke most of the fall and took most of the damage. It broke one of the cross beams to the luggage rack, but it still put a dent in the roof, destroyed the passenger side mirror, put a decent sized dent in the frame body above the door on the passenger side and on the sliding door on the passenger side. So, frustrating piece, but this is why you got car insurance. The good thing is it's not collision, it's comprehensive, so my deductible is much less. And so, but now we've got a broken car. I have had trees fall on my vehicles on 3 occasions. 3 occasions. I'm tired of this. Just tired of it. It's not fun. Anyway. Yo, Blaine, what's going on? I had some I was just talking about my vehicle issues. Non-mechanical. Well, it becomes mechanical when Mother Nature decides to fall on your vehicle and break off mechanical pieces like the side view mirror. But could be worse. Like Veritex, like you said, at least nobody was in it. I was in my truck the last time a tree fell on one of our vehicles. But that was in my parents' driveway. I was just getting ready to move it so we could put the kids in the back. I had this 2018 Ram Rebel 1500. I love that truck to death. But things would not stop happening to it. People would not stop running into it. Trees would not stop hitting it. It was a claim magnet. It was awful. So that's been the big story. That's been the big drama over on my side of the world in the past 24 hours. So pup cheerio alias. Veritex says my new desk arrives tomorrow. I didn't go with an L-shaped desk in the end. I wanted more leg room under it. How dare you? It's all right, Veritex. Gets whatever's most comfortable for you. One day you'll graduate to an L-shaped desk, and in the meantime you'll be Blaine tiered with your desks. As Alias said, L shapes for closers. Ooh, rip the side off the bed. At least know what it is. Yeah. Also a Ford Ranger for Blaine. 72 Ford Ranger. We just hit the hood with a sledge and kept going. Yeah. Hernandez said having one car is biblical. Yeah, we've got more. Veritex said it's part of a sit. When I get a better office, I can add other pieces to it. So it's not a dead end desk. There you go. Good. Don't be like Blaine. Be a grown up. Be a professional. Get an L shaped. You'll feel better about yourself in the end. One car, yeah. Blaine is as unbiblical as if one car is biblical. Blaine is Blaine's the King Solomon of car owners. What's going on, Dresden? Hopefully, everybody's having a good evening tonight. Hopefully, everybody's had a good time since last pouring in. Like I said, sometimes life throws obstacles in our way. Sometimes life throws challenges, and sometimes we can let them eat. the, I've got one car per purpose. How many purposes do you have, though, Blaine? Um, we can let these inconveniences eat us up, right? It's not a minor inconvenience to have a tree fall on your car, and so now you don't want to drive it. It's our primary mode of transportation for our kids because that's what's got the most room. I have 3 children now, and that's what we use. State fairs in town. We want to go to the fair. What do you take? Now space is an issue, but there's ways around it. Or it's not the end of the world. Uh it's not the end of an era. It's not a life-changing event, right? Take the stuff in stride. Um can eat us up for a little bit, and it's okay to be frustrated. But don't let it hang over you like a dark cloud, because it's just it's just a tree. It's just a car. It might just be a job. Um it might be an unpaid bill. It's just an unpaid bill. So Renee said, all these with one accord were devoting themselves to prayer. One accord. I get it. One accord. One Honda Accord. We're devoting themselves to prayer together with the women and Mary, the mother of Jesus, and his brothers. Acts 1:14. Um, that just means you're only allowed to have one Honda. Well, having one Honda Accord is biblical, not just one car. Blaine has 4 purposes. A 4-door Stinger. Well, they only make Stingers in 4 doors. And we all know what 4 doors means. I love my Stinger. Driving around today. Kid to practice. My son has been doing excellent at soccer, guys. Got to brag on him. Doing excellent at soccer. He was struggling this spring, but really coming into his own this fall. So it's good. It's always good to see it. It's like something, just some switch flips in their head as they're growing, and they get it better. And all of a sudden, their talent improves, and it's great. It's great to see that. Veritex said, speaking of accords, we were driving around shopping, and my daughter complains that she doesn't have her thoughts in one place right now. I told her that's because we aren't in one accord. We are riding in a Honda Passport. Good dad joke, sir. Good dad joke. Wrong Honda. 4 doors, more Jezebels. That's right. Oh. Good. Glad to have everybody here, or glad to have the folks who are here. So, we're going to continue with Job, and you'll notice that these episodes aren't running as long as they normally do. I always say that there's a lot to glean out of any 2 chapters, it seems, of scripture, unless you're getting into the genealogy parts of it, or maybe some of the more physics-based, mechanically based parts of the Bible, where like God is telling the Israelites exactly how he wants them to build the Ark of the Covenant, or talking to Noah and telling him how big he wants the ark to survive the flood to be, or how the Israelites built King Solomon's temple to God. Those kind of parts What it does, what those things do tell us, though, um, is that the Israelites, when given specific tasks, specific instructions that are more concrete and measurable, they're generally pretty obedient. And they struggle with the more um, behaviorally based rules and instructions from God. With genealogy, it lets you know they're taking care. They are uh, recording the stuff. The genealogy is important. That which works against the Pharisees' favor. That genealogy becomes very important when we are talking about uh, fulfillment of prophecies, like the coming of Jesus. So, a more scholarly person might find use in those types of passages, but your more run of the mill, your average chapters in the Bible, in Scripture, you can pull a lot out of. And you don't really notice it until you try. Until you try. And that's what I think has been very fulfilling about this show is the fact that we can do about 2 chapters a night and get about an hour's worth of content out of it. Now, the first, like we said, 10, 15 minutes is small talk, but we're reading 2 chapters and we're getting an hour out of it. That's That's good. Now, what we're running around with here for the most part is about 40, 45 minutes, closer in that range. But that's because a lot of what we're talking about in Job is a bit repetitive. It's a little bit different from chapter to chapter, but not much. We're seeing a lot of the same things, and with that, there's less to extrapolate because we've already kind of covered it recently. But repetition is good. Um, Baseball players, football players, any type of tradesman or craftsman, you work on the fundamentals because they're fundamental, and that requires repetition. Repetition builds muscle memory, builds confidence in what you're doing. So there is some good to all of this. But again, that I think that causes the episodes to run shorter than normal. And it is what it is. It is what it is. So I am going to go through the next 2 chapters, which are going to be very similar to the last 2 chapters, which are very similar to the chapters that will be tomorrow. But we're going to go through them. We're going to comment on them. And then we're going to wrap up the show. And I'm going to finish this desk so it's nice and ready when my son and daughter are next able to use it. And there you can. So parenting moment. Before I finally get into the rating. So parenting moment. Because maybe one day my kids will watch this show, watch this stream. Maybe YouTube will still exist. Maybe this channel will be archived, or maybe it will still be active. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds? But if they decide they want to watch dear old dad in action, talking about faith, and they come across it, I really would like them to get the impression that and understand that I do care as much as I tell them and communicate to them. My son was punished earlier today, where he was kicked off of technology for the day because when my wife dropped him off at school, he was not being nice to his younger sister, and my wife saw it. She did the mom thing, rolled down the window, said, "You better stop doing that." That kind of stuff. And but then she called me and told me it just bothered her. Your son, when he's the oldest, should be more protective of and less competitive with his siblings, and so he was punished for his actions. And I had to sit down and tell him, I was like, "Look, you know, this is what I need you to do. I need you to care about your sister the way I care about you and your sister. I need to look out for her because if I'm not going to be here forever, one day you're going to be the oldest in the family, and as you grow up, your sisters are going to look up to you naturally. Your sister now, oldest sister now, already looks up to you, whether you notice it or not. She does, and your younger sister, while she's just an infant right now, will eventually look up to you a great deal more, probably because you're 10 years older than her. So needed that to sink in with him. And then, I was putting together this desk for the most part, and I needed him to help out. I'm a mechanic by trade. What's going on, Nico? Mechanic by trade. So, I can rock and roll on building a, $60 desk and put it together. And he wants to help, and I'm trying to think of ways. I really just need him to hand me components. And he, like I said, he loves to put stuff together. I had to slow myself down a bit and said, like, because he got really upset, and he goes, "I feel like you don't care about me." And then you have to explain, why do you think there's zero reason on this planet why you should think that I don't care about you? The things I do demonstrate how much I care about. No, you haven't missed a reading yet, Nico. Still doing the intro. What was I saying? Oh, just explaining to him, I care about you guys. I care about both of you, and you guys cannot fully appreciate that level yet, but someday you will. Someday you will. But I wish I could impress upon you the level of caring I do about them. It's like y'all are my one heart's desire. The only all the things I do for you, I only ask for very few things in return. Be good people, love God, and love your family, love your friends, and love your neighbors. That's it. That's it. That's it. It's really what I care about. So, all right. In the future, all shows will be a flawed man. Don't you know about how to use the 3 shells? No, I don't. I don't, Alias. But hey, here's to a future of more flawed man episodes. I like doing it. I like you guys. I enjoy it. All right. With that said, let's get in the reading. Y'all have heard me talk about today enough. Let's talk about something people go through daily, but in this case, an event that happened thousands of years ago. So we know we don't need to go the recap Job. We've done enough recaps. Well, where we find Job, he's in the middle of this altercation. It's pretty much becoming an altercation, a trial. I don't know how to use the shells. I don't know what y'all are talking about. It's been a long day. I don't know where. I'm not picking up on it. It's really this trial of Job, and a lot of character assassination going on. A lot of character assassination going on, and we're gonna find more of that as we restart with chapter 18. Bildad speaks of the wicked. Wonder who he's referring to. Then Bildad the Shuhite answered and said, "How long will you hunt for words and continue these speeches? Do some clear thinking and show understanding, and then we can talk." Man, again, look, I don't really appreciate that until I'm really reading through this again and reading it how I'm reading it out loud. This day, this dude. How long will you? Again, it is kind of like I said, it is a bit repetitive. So there is a point. You're hunting for words and continue these speeches. Job keeps having to defend himself because you guys keep piling on. But the second sentence, do some clear thinking and show understanding, and then we can talk. Meaning, when you're ready to be honest with yourself, when you're ready to look at this objectively and be rational, then we can have a conversation. Why are we regarded as beasts, as if we are stupid and senseless in your eyes? You who tear yourself apart in anger, is the earth to be abandoned for your sake, or the rock to be moved out of its place? Indeed, the light of the wicked will be put out, and the flame of his fire will not shine. The light of the dark in the light will be the dark in his tent, and his lamp beside him will be put out. The vigorous stride will be shortened, and his own counsel and scheme in which he trusted will bring his downfall. For the wicked is thrown into a net by his own feet, wickedness, and he steps on the webbing of the lattice covered pit. A snare catches him by the heel, and the trap snaps shut on him. A noose is hidden for him on the ground, and a trap for him on the path. Terrors frighten him on every side, and chase at his heels. The strength of the wicked is famished and weakened, and disaster is ready at his side if he stops. His skin is devoured by disease. The firstborn of death, the worst of diseases, consumes his limbs. He is torn from his tent, which he trusted for safety, and he is marched and brought to the king of terrors, death. Nothing of his dwells in his tent. Brimstone, burning sulfur, is scattered over his dwelling to purify it. The roots of the wicked are dried up below, and above his branch is cut off and withers. Memory of him perishes on the earth from the earth, and he has no name on the street. He is driven and propelled from lightness into darkness, and chased from the inhabited world. He has no offspring or prosperity among his people, nor any survivor where he sojourned. Those in the west are astonished and appalled at his fate, and those in the east are seized with horror. Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked and the ungodly, and such is the place of him who does not know or recognize or honor God. Dude had a lot to say. Speaks a lot, yet has not wisdom. Again, let's sum all this up, right? This is one very long monologue chastising Job without naming him. He's not naming them, but he's basically saying, he leads right into it, right? He goes, why do you talk? He says, why are we regarded as beasts? It's basically like, do you think we're dumb like dogs? Why are you treating us like dumb animals? You keep coming up with these new, differently worded arguments about how this shouldn't have happened to you, or you don't understand what happened to you, or that this is beyond appropriate punishment for you. He said, you're tearing yourself apart in anger. Is the earth supposed to be abandoned for your sake? The world doesn't revolve around you, Job. Is that what you tell a guy who has gone through what Job has gone through? I think we've moved, and this seems to be the way of arguments sometimes. This seems to be the way of arguments. They start from one place, and it comes from a desire to help or a desire to instruct or teach. But when they start to really gain momentum, an argument becomes just an argument with no real goal other than to say your piece in possibly uh, the worst way you can, or the most damaging to the other side, becomes a war of words, a war of ideas. And it's not there to change anybody's mind. It's there to browbeat the other person. And look, if we are going to call this channel Flawed Man because I need to be open about the things that I struggle with, like we all need to be open about the things we struggle with, that type of arguing, I am highly susceptible to. I argue for the sake of arguing sometimes, which is weird because oftentimes I find it tiresome. And yet I'm drawn to it like a moth to the flame. I can't help myself. I don't feel good afterwards. I might feel clever immediately when I'm typing something. Because look, I've got some zingers. Like, I'm not bad at arguing, but that doesn't mean I should be arguing. That doesn't mean that um that doesn't mean that I'm getting anything productive out of it. That doesn't mean it's healthy for my soul. Some things are worth arguing for. But a lot of times an argument goes from having a purpose to just existing to feed itself. And we may be, and I'm saying maybe, we may be stepping into that territory for, at least for Job's friends. Job, I think, is just on the defensive because he is in a bad place in his life, right? This is where he is. He's not in a good place, and one of the things he didn't expect, of course, he hasn't expected any of this, but he didn't expect for his friends to start hurling accusations at him. This isn't helpful. And he feels like he feels alone. We talked about that last night. Like people who argue that enchiladas aren't casseroles. That's correct. And if only Serranos was here to understand how awful an idea that enchiladas aren't casseroles is. But, you know, he will have his answers one day in heaven and he will understand that he was wrong. Enchiladas are casseroles. It's a subset. It's a subset. It's like there was the halberd of destiny that pierced our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Right? Not just a spear. Spike. Anyway. But you know, that's where he's at. You know, we start talking about this. That's what that's what this whole verses 5 through 21 is. Just getting it off, scoring his points, scoring his argument points, at least in his mind. Not necessarily mean he actually is scoring points, because again, he's trying to accuse Job of something that Job knows he doesn't do, and he's trying to accuse Job of something that Bildad himself doesn't actually know. He just assumes that whatever it is great. He doesn't know, though. He's just jumping on that train. He was punished. Must have been something wrong. He must have done something bad. That's how it works. I don't make the rules. Kind of like I don't make the rules about burritos being sandwiches, alias. It's a subset. It's a sandwich. Subset of wrap, subset of sandwich. Anyway. But that's what we see. Bildad's got, Bildad's got some words here. But again, he doesn't realize it, though he thinks that though he's convinced himself that it's true, that this must apply to Job. All right, let's see how Job responds to this, because the next chapter is going to be that, right? Sandwich cylinders is a whole category. That's what's with these rectangle sandwich supremacists. Blaine and I are in concert on this. What do you think, Ron? What do you think, Flawed? Anyway, Job feels insulted, chapter 19. Then Job answered and said, because he knew it was going to happen, how long will you torment and exasperate me and crush me with words? These 10 times you have insulted me. You are not ashamed to wrong me and harden your hearts against me. And if it were true that I have erred, my error would remain with me, and I would be conscious of it. If indeed you braggarts vaunt and magnify yourselves over me and prove my disgrace and humiliation to me, know then that God has wronged me and overthrown me and has closed his net around me. Job's kind of at that point where he's going to be a little bit like his wife, but instead of saying curse God and die, why don't you friends of mine just curse me and die? Why don't y'all just leave? Why are you still here? Is it just to poke at me? If indeed you braggarts vaunt and magnify yourselves over me and prove my disgrace and humiliation to me. I mean, these words hurt. These are coming from men that he valued as friends and probably went to for advice oftentimes, and thought that these guys were folks that cared about him. And now he's hearing all of this come out of nowhere, and nobody is giving him the benefit of the doubt. Everything is against him. Behold, I cry out violence, but I am not heard. I shout for help, but there is no justice. He has walled up my way so that I cannot pass, and he has set darkness upon my paths. He has stripped me of my honor and removed the crown from my head. He breaks me down on every side, and I am gone. He has uprooted my hope like a tree. He has also kindled his wrath like a fire against me, and he considers and counts me as one of his adversaries. I mean, why else would he do these things? His troops come together and build up their way, and siege works against me and camp around my tent. This really speaks to the Age of Empires player in me. His troops come together and build up their way, and siege works against me and camp out around my tent. Yeah. So I'm sending my cataphracts around. He has put my brothers far from me, and my acquaintances are completely estranged from me. He's talking about these guys right now. My relatives have failed me, and my intimate friends have forgotten me. Those who live temporarily in my house and my maids consider me a stranger. I am a foreigner in their sight. They want nothing to do with him. I call to my servant, but he does not answer. I have to implore him with words. My breath is repulsive to my wife, maybe because Satan gave you halitosis. And I am loathsome to my own brothers. Now, his wife is repulsed by the fact that he still lives. She's already asked him to curse God and die. All the men of my counsel hate me. Those I love have turned against me. My bone clings to my skin and to my flesh, and I have escaped death by the skin of my teeth. Have pity on me. Have pity on me, O you, my friends, for the hand of God has touched me. Why do you persecute me as God does? Why are you not satisfied with my flesh and anguish? with the anguish of my flesh, maybe. Job says, my Redeemer lives. Oh, that the words I now speak were written. Oh, that they were recorded in a scroll. That with an iron stylus and molten lead they were engraved in the rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer and Vindicator lives, and at last he will take his stand upon the earth. Prophecy. This is perhaps the oldest, if not one of the oldest, foreshadowings of Christ. I know that my Redeemer and Vindicator lives, and that for I know that my Redeemer and Vindicator lives, and at the last he will take his stand upon the earth. Even after my mortal skin is destroyed by death, yet from my immortal flesh I will see God, whom I, even I, will see for myself, and my eyes will see him and not another. My heart faints within me. If you say, how shall we continue to persecute him? And what pretext for a case against him can we find, since we claim the root of these afflictions is found in him? Then beware, and be afraid of the sword of divine vengeance for yourselves, for wrathful are the punishments of that sword, so that you may know there is judgment. We've talked about it before. I haven't seen MR on here since I've come back, but we talk about his friends have shown him a very distinct lack of due process on this. They think that he is guilty of something. They don't know what it is, but they just go with it instead of looking for proof, instead of investigating. But that's not why they were supposed to be there in the first place. You're supposed to be there to support the man. Support the man until you're given a reason not to support the man. They, for some reason, were driven to kick him when he's down. And Blaine says, the way Job so eloquently says, why are you an ass? Why are you an S? Why are all of them? He's surrounded by asses. And that's our reading for tonight. So there you have it, folks. Job, once more dealing with the humiliation of his friends not believing him, not caring about what actually happened. They're more concerned what they think happened, might have happened, and not even really all that interested in figuring out if what they said is right or not. And Job, though he feels wronged, though he is frustrated, still finds a way. To pull some beauty out. For I know that my Redeemer and Vindicator lives, and that at the last he will take his stand upon the earth. Even after my mortal skin is destroyed by death, yet from my immortal flesh I will see God, whom I, even I, will see for myself, and my eyes will see him and not another. My heart faints within me. And he ends it with a warning about this consistent chiding and accusatory language. And Nerneus said, no one is on his side, but he still feels right. So that make Job Treebeard? I am on nobody's side because nobody is on my side. He feels that someone will stand up for him and have enough perspective to find all the answers. Well, he's not wrong. He's just not sure. He's just not, we're just not to that point yet. And it's not going to come from his friends. It's not going to come from his friends. So, with that said, all right, tomorrow night's Wednesday. We're going to be here We're going to be here talking about Job. We're going to be here reading from Job. And we're going to continue to dig into it. And again, guys, spoiler alert, what if Job's friends is going to say mean things about him and Job is going to respond to what has been laid against him? So wait, John Smoth, I mentioned you last night. John Smoth 99. Oh, there he is. Guys, I love my viewers. I love the commenters. I love the chat. I love this community. It's awesome. Renee said the idea of a redeemer is in Jewish law, and this sounds like a precursor, someone with more wealth and authority to make things right. Ability? No, I said John Smoth is probably lurking somewhere in the background. That's what I said. Nirnaeth, that's right. But hey, again, foreshadowing, someone with more wealth and authority to make things right. Who would have that kind of power? Very little, John. Only a little bit of slander. All right, so John Smoth, Nirnaeth, Blaine, Alias, Nico, Veritax, Dresden, Mr. Zero, or I'm assuming it's Mr. Zero. Whomever. All you guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being part of the chat. Again, I'll say it every time. You make the show better. And I appreciate that. And I am humbled that you guys find this place that I have created enjoyable enough to continue to come back or not. You could just read the Bible to yourself, but you don't. You come here and you participate. And I appreciate it. To the folks who are listening and not chatting, that's fine. I encourage you to chat, but look, I'm just glad you're getting something out of this. I'm glad that you guys are tuning in and finding joy where you can, and hopefully pulling some great nuggets of wisdom, and hopefully it's building your faith up and doing all the good things that reading the Bible is supposed to do for you. To everybody who is catching this on replay, I hope to catch you live sometime soon. In the meantime, folks, y'all be good. Have a good night, and God bless.